The Mavericks lose in heartbreaking fashion at home to DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings. We'll break it all down coming up next on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLS Mavs. Really appreciate you joining us here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. The Mavericks fall, unfortunately, at home in overtime to the Sacramento Kings, 129-128, despite Kyrie Irving stuffing the stat sheet tonight. Kyrie Irving with 30 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in 44 minutes of play. But DeMar DeRozan with the go-ahead bucket with 1.9 seconds left in overtime, part of his 42-point night, delivers the win for Sacramento in what was a thrilling game back and forth all night long at the American Airlines Center. We'll break it all down here for you over the course of the next hour. We'll be joined by our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live from the American Airlines Center a little bit later on in the show. But Bobby, unfortunately, on this night, the Dallas Mavericks could not get enough stops in the end. We thought Klay Thompson was hitting a go-ahead three-pointer to win the game with 9 seconds left in overtime, but DeMar DeRozan simply too much, especially in the second half in overtime. 21 of his 42 points coming in the second half in the fourth quarter and in overtime. Just a heartbreaking loss, as our title card has it tonight, as the Mavericks fall to Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, just couldn't get a stop when they needed to, man. You know, Kyrie had what we thought would be a game winner with 5 seconds left or 6 seconds left or something, and then the Kings tied it. And then
DeMar DeRozan tied it.
Yeah, and then Klay had there was 15 seconds left or whatever, but still, Klay hit a go-ahead shot in overtime, and DeMar DeRozan happened again. And, everything that we talk about over the next hour or so is going to be shaded and colored by the fact that the Mavs played virtually an entire game against an All-NBA center without a center, and it's really, really hard to look beyond that. But there is a lot to talk about beyond that. I don't want to just, unless you want to get right into it. I'm the co-pilot, man. You're the pilot, so you ride us down the tracks. But if you can't get a stop on DeMar DeRozan with the game on the line, I am not putting Spencer Dinwiddie on DeMar DeRozan. I'm just not doing it. So I want to get that out there. However, I earnestly mean this. It is so freaking hard to get these guys ready to play because you have no idea who's going to be healthy. Mm-hmm. You have no idea how many guys can play how many minutes. Kyrie's running on fumes, and he's like the only healthy player that you've ever heard of right now.
Yeah.
Gafford goes down tonight. I cannot imagine what it must be like for Jason Kidd and this coaching staff to try and get this team ready to play when literally every single game you were losing someone. Someone has gotten hurt 3 or 4 games in a row now. It's unbelievable. And so, I absolutely will question why Spencer Dinwiddie was even in the game, let alone on DeMar DeRozan, the guy who scored 42 points with the game on the line as Najee Marshall watched from the sideline, as Kessler Edwards was guarding someone else, as Max Christie was guarding someone else. But the fact that they were even in that position to begin with, and I know this is cope, but it is a testament to the players and the coaching staff because honestly, there's no reason they should have been in this game in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, a game that featured what was 28 lead changes, 17 ties. I mean, it was a back and forth entertaining game, but you mentioned it as far as Spencer Dinwiddie late in the game. Simply, they had no answer for DeMar DeRozan, and what negated in a lot of ways for Dinwiddie a decent game for him until we got into the later portions of the game, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime. But you're right, with the amount of bodies that this team continues to lose, you mentioned it, Daniel Gafford left this game in what was the second quarter with a right knee sprain with 10:46 left in that second quarter. and he never returned for the Mavericks. We will see what his status will look like going into the back-to-back that they have later on this week against the Warriors and the Miami Heat. But at the same time, this team who got beaten up on the boards with no real center at times, Omax Prosper was playing small ball 5, Kessler Edwards playing small ball 5. I thought Omax played a pretty good game overall. I thought what they had to give on the floor for the most part, they were able to. But again, when you cannot get stops in key moments, DeMar DeRozan hit the bucket to send it into overtime and hit the game winner to win the game for Sacramento. They simply had no answer for him. And defensively, it was tough to watch as they were trying to deal with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, giving him some credit for the shot making that he had, efficient shot making, but again, not enough to find a way to stop him here.
I mean, the idea of the Mavs defensive system is they're going to run you off the line if you're a three-point shooter, and then they're not going to shrink the floor the way that some teams do, but they are going to put, like, as far as collapsing the paint goes, but they are going to put bodies in the paint. And tonight, whenever you're already down all your bigs, you have to overcompensate even more. And so the gaps or whatever, I mean, the thing that they're not going to scheme out is if a dude can just hit a bunch of face-up 19-footers. If you send doubles to a guy from 19 feet, it's just way too easy to swing the ball. And, I mean, there are better options than Spencer Dinwiddie, but I'm really trying to think of who would be a better option. I mean, Najee, I guess, but you needed Najee to guard their center.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they played half the game with Valanciunas and Sabonis in there, and it's like you literally don't have the bodies. Like, in a perfect world, you would defend a guy like DeMar DeRozan with Omax Prosper and with Kessler Edwards and with Najee Marshall, who were your centers tonight. I mean, in a super perfect world, I guess you'd be defending DeMar DeRozan with P.J. Washington, who was out.
He was out.
You could have Anthony Davis switch on to him. He was out. I could keep going if you want me to, but I'm just getting real sad. There's a lot to feel good about. Okay, I'm a little mopey.
We feel really good about you.
Oh, Max Christie he's a hero. He's a legend already. But yeah, I mean, they couldn't stop the bigs. They couldn't stop DeRozan. Levine did not have a very good game for Sacramento, but I mean, I just don't even, no AD, no Lively, no Gafford, no Dwight Powell. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're down to no bigs. I mean, they refused at points to put in Kyler Kelly. They finally put him in there for a couple of minutes because they had to deal with Jonas Valanciunas. They simply could not have Kessler Edwards or Omax Prosper trying to deal with Valanciunas, in the paint, especially when he's getting offensive rebounds and getting some putbacks there. They had to try something, and Kyler Kelly was the only answer that they have. I mean, this is what it comes down to. The injuries that they are continuing to sustain, it's an unsustainable way to try to win games, and it's no fault of their own that guys continue to get hurt. And unfortunately, at plenty of times, whether it be offensive rebounds for Sabonis or for Valanciunas, they were getting plenty of second chance opportunities to be able to make it happen. And this is after what was, I thought, a pretty good first half. I mean, DeMar DeRozan hit a couple of, walk-up threes, to close the first half for Sacramento. But if you look at what the Mavericks did, they limited the turnovers. They were punished. The bench was punishing the Sacramento Kings bench in the first half. They were the ones getting out in transition and making things happen, turning Sacramento over. I thought they played an excellent first half for the most part, doing the kinds of things that you got to do to win games. But in the second half, as the game went on, not enough bodies, and they just continue to get wore down. But more importantly for me, Kyrie Irving playing 44 minutes in this game. Jason Kidd saying prior to the game that, if he has to play 40 minutes, he's going to have to play 40 minutes. But the amount of wear and tear that Kyrie Irving continues to have to take on, and this team relying upon him as heavily as they are, it is becoming more and more difficult for this team to sustain any of this, not only with just the bodies that they're losing, but the amount of taxing that is putting on a guy like Kyrie Irving to have to do it all the way that he did tonight in tonight's game.
Yeah, their fourth quarter offense was basically just give it to Kyrie and just kind of hope for the best.
Yeah, and go get it.
Yeah, he played all 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. He played all 5 minutes of overtime. He played 9:40 of the third quarter. So, what is that, 26, 27 minutes?
He essentially played the entire third quarter, fourth quarter, and overtime.
Yeah, and Sacramento was doubling him, and there were a couple just absolutely mind-boggling possessions. I don't remember. Fourth quarters and overtimes always blend together for me, but I don't remember if it was late in the fourth or early in overtime where 2 possessions in a row you had Najee dribble out the shot clock, and then you had Omax dribbling into nowhere with like 2 seconds left in the shot clock because they couldn't get into anything because Kyrie was getting double teamed. And again, I mean, Omax is out of your roster of 15 guys, Omax is probably your 13th or 14th best option in that scenario, if not your dead last option in that scenario. Piloting a 4-on-3, and Najee is supposed to be better in that, but it kept happening so late because it was taking them forever to get the ball up the floor, get Kyrie a touch, and it's just everything was falling apart. It's a bunch of dudes out there playing roles they're not used to, playing positions they're not used to, guarding guys they're not used to, running offense that they're not used to. And, not to be a doomer, but we've kind of talked about this on the show over the last month or so. Once Kyrie came back and Luka was still out, teams were doubling Kyrie a lot. And it's not that Kyrie necessarily struggles against ball pressure because he can pass it and stuff, but it's really hard for him to score against ball pressure because he's usually the smallest guy on the floor. So you got 2 guys that are doubling him 45 feet from the rim. It's going to take him so much time and effort to get around that double team. So it's just way easier to just give the ball up underneath, guy in a short roll. But then someone has to make a quick decision. We saw Exum fail in that situation, and then he got benched. We saw Omax fail. We saw Najee fail. And it's like they have to, because for however long AD is out, which could be weeks, it could be months, it could be
the rest of the season.
It could be forever. Maybe he'll never play another game at this point. But like, they're gonna need someone to be able to make those simple plays, And it's, you have to be able to take what the defense gives you. That's the hallmark of a really good team, is that you can beat them different ways. And right now, the Mavs are down so many guys. They can maybe hit the fastball, but they can't hit the changeup and the curveball and the splitter and the sinker and the slider. And teams are just throwing junk at them, and a lot of it's working right now.
Let's get to some of our super chats before we take our first break here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. Let's start with Patrick with the $2 super chat. Get Nico to come on the show. Killed the team.
I don't think he'll be doing many interviews anytime soon.
He was at the arena tonight after making his first appearance publicly as far as the game is concerned after the lukadoncic trade, but he was in the building tonight. Let's get to Matt with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Matt.
your contribution. Thank you. Let's get to Corbin. Corbin with the $5 super chat. If you zoom out of the day-to-day, I don't think this organization is teetering. It's in free fall, and it doesn't realize it yet. Dark days ahead. Dark days in Dallas ahead.
Maybe.
I mean,
it's certainly possible.
We await to see what the news will be with Anthony Davis. We await the news to see how much of an injury it's going to be for Daniel Gafford with the right knee sprain that he dealt with tonight. It was not able to come back from. So
did PJ get a knee sprain and miss one game, or did he miss multiple?
He missed one game and was able to come back. So
yeah, I think the reality is they got a back-to-back coming up. Yeah, this is speculation, but we're not seeing Daniel Gafford until after the All-Star break.
You got the day off tomorrow, and then you're back on the floor, like you said, for the back-to-back with with Golden State and Miami.
Yeah, the good thing is it's not like you have to contend with Bam Adebayo in one of those games.
Jeez.
Or with Kevon Looney, who gets 35 offensive rebounds a game.
Trace Jackson Davis usually goes off against the Mavs.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. Yeah, Tyler Kelly, get some sleep tonight, buddy.
I like that's going to help. Let's go to get one more. Arturus Gregor with the $5 super chat. Thank you. This is unsustainable for Kai to play this many minutes with all these injuries. The chances of us being in the playoffs or play-in is very slim. That's what I was saying earlier in terms of the unsustainability of Kyrie Irving at 32 years old, 14 years in the league now. Yes, congratulations. He made his ninth All-Star team prior to tonight's game. But to ask him to play this heavy of minutes with this kind of load, he stuffed the stat sheet tonight. We mentioned it earlier. 30 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. He was doing anything and everything that he could to win this game. But again, when you don't have enough shot creators and enough guys to be able to take some of that pressure off of him, this is the result, unfortunately, that you're going to get when it comes to Kyrie Irving and him attempting to carry this team on his back, which has a bulging disc in it right now. So it's tough for Kyrie given the situation that they're dealing with right now.
Yeah, and Luka just threw like a 70-foot pass to LeBron on the fast break for a layup. So Kyrie needs some help.
Pain. Just pain.
And that one of the guys that could help him plays for a new team, and the other guy that they traded that dude for is out. And I again, the Mavs almost won the game, just like they almost beat Philly, right?
Sure.
That's 2 losses in the last 4 or 5 games or whatever it is by 1 shot.
But you can't keep losing these games.
No, for sure. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to cope. I'm not saying that for anything. But like in those games, guys have popped, right? There have been guys that have gone off for 15 or 20 points. Like tonight, Dinwiddie had 20. Max Christie has scored 15 points every single game, like ever. But tonight you allowed 129 against Philly. You allowed 118. I mean, what do I say all the time? Like if you're down your best offensive players, you have to try and win with defense. But tonight, how are you supposed to get a stop? And against Philly, how are you supposed to get a stop? They had Kessler Edwards on Embiid.
Yeah.
And it's like, if Gafford is going to miss more than just the next 2 games, and if AD is really going to miss up to a month, the way that Sham said, or longer, I mean, I'm not waving the white flag here, KG, but like, how are they going to get enough stops to ever win a game?
I have no idea. I mean, honestly, I have no idea. You have no bodies. You have no centers. They don't have
any power forwards.
You don't have any power forwards. Like it's tough. It's tough when it's going like this.
Their starting center, when Steph Curry comes to town in a couple days, will probably be like their 4th string small forward.
Let's take our first break here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we will talk about this game some more. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. Let's go to break on the Dlls Mavs postgame show.
Well, if you're in pain, KG, and you just need to either work off that frustration, if you're like a big go on a walk guy or go on a run guy or a workout guy, or you got something else that you're trying to mix up, hey, I got the perfect gift for you. Ice Shaker, they're officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and MLB. They're created and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shaker sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with workout bottles, and this is the one you've been looking for. Kitchen-grade stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odor like the plastic bottles do. Their patented twist and agitator breaks up powders, but is silent when you shake it. Instead of the annoying ga-dung, 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 you know that sound?
The Jesse Holly special.
Yeah, we all know and we all hate that sound. And they're third-party tested. They'll hold ice for more than 30 hours. That's a really long workout. I don't know if I could work out for longer than 30 seconds right now because I'm so delirious from what I've just had to see. But order your team brand and bottle say at iceshaker.com and use the code ALLCITY25 to save 25% off your order.
Let's talk about Game Time. With Game Time, you can go to concerts, sporting events, basketball games, football games, and you can do it with Game Time. With Game Time, it filters out. With Game Time picks, you can filter out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. I use Game Time to get my tickets to WrestleMania. Coming up on April 19th and 20th, I was able to use the panoramic seat views, Kevin, to be able to let me know where I was going to be sitting and all in pricing as well, so I knew exactly what I was going to pay before I paid it as well. If you want the lowest price guaranteed, you've got to use Game Time. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time when your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry with Game Time ticket coverage. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today for last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Game Time.
Game Time. Tanner, do me a favor. Find me Smoke _show.
Oh, no.
Real quick.
KG.
No. Keep going up a little bit. KG. Right. There it is, right there. Mr. Smoke _show. Can one of you two say one thing positive?
Max Christie forever.
Max Christie forever.
And ever.
That
dude battles.
He
does, though, KG.
He really does, Bobby. Congratulations, Smoke _show. You got your positive comment on
I do love Max Christie, man.
Here's what I want. Look, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to talk to you for a second. What you want us to say? What do you want me and Bobby to say based off of the situation that this team is currently in right now?
And that is a good question to ask, honestly.
What do you want us to say? I want to know in the chat, what do you want me to say about this particular situation right now? Because it's dire.
It is dire. That's a good word.
Like, I'm not the one to blow smoke up your ass. Like, this is what it is right now. They got no centers. They got no playmakers hardly.
No power forwards.
They're asking a 32-year-old with a trick back to carry this team on and on and on every single night. Guys falling left and right injury-wise. It's dire. It is what it is. I don't want it to be this way. You got a GM who felt like he couldn't believe in a 25-year-old superstar anymore, so he shipped him off to Los Angeles to go play with LeBron and his boys. Like, what you want me to do? I'm just as pissed off as you are. I really am. Because the trade didn't make any sense. Your bodies that keep dropping, it doesn't make any sense. The basketball guys have decided this ain't it for the Mavs right now. And I don't know exactly what you want me to say, how you want me to make you feel, how to make you feel better. I can't right now. It is what it is. Again, I'm in pain with you. I'm right there with you. I feel your pain. I feel your hurt. Cats getting tossed out of the arena, protested what's going on. Like, I feel your pain. But this is what it is right now. And I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry that this is what's happened to this team, because it shouldn't be happening based on where this team was less than a year ago to now this. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
I
apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't
No. Max Christie, though, KG.
Max Christie, though. We love you. Woo, El DeBarge, you're going off, El. El DeBarge is cooking.
I need to apologize, too, because I once told a lie when I said that basketball is supposed to be fun. Nothing is fun about this, man. Like,
nothing.
I think that's the, and I don't want to, like, I'm not even playing this up or over dramatizing. You're going to lose some games. Even the best teams lose 20 games or 25 games. And this is just a game on what day is it? Monday night against the Sacramento Kings, whenever you have no big men. But, like, I really don't know what kind of fortune, like, even if Daniel Gafford is back in their next game, even if he's back, and even if PJ comes back, I just don't see how this works if AD is out for longer than however long the All-Star break is, another 2 weeks or whatever. Like, I just don't. They're so close to being out of the playoffs, being out of the play-in. I'm assuming that Gafford's missing your next two. It's going to be really hard to win one of those.
Meanwhile, your sophomore sensation center is out there with a broken ankle.
And he might not play at all the rest of the regular season. He might not play for the rest of the season. And who knows how long maybe Gafford is back game one out of the All-Star break. And maybe Caleb Martin joins too. Like,
I forgot about Caleb Martin and his bum hip right now. I forgot about that.
I'm trying to find a reason to feel optimistic, right? Like, I want to huff some hopium. We got some empty tanks in here. Like, I want to feel good about something. And it's just, I don't want to, and I also understand too, I want to put this out there. Like, I hate listening to people just be sad all the time. And I don't necessarily like watching people just mauled and break down and stuff, but, like, it's highs and lows. And this season has just been so many lows. It's been so many freaking lows, dude.
Like, we're exhausted. We are exhausted.
But every time, like, that's the thing. This is like the curse of it all. Is like,
yes.
Every time you think they're about to turn a corner,
yes,
AD comes out and just looks like an unstoppable freak. And I'm like, oh my God, the Mavs are gonna are they gonna lose another game?
Yeah.
And then AD's now out. Gafford had the best stretch of his entire career.
Oh, my gosh. Played unbelievable.
He just got a knee sprain. Derek Lively took a huge leap forward. He's out now forever.
Mm-hmm.
Maxi Kleber got hurt so bad he apologized to the GM before getting traded. Luka got hurt.
Man,
he got traded. Kyrie got hurt. It's amazing he's even able to play. And it's like, I put this on the internet. I logged on to Twitter the other day. And I said, I just need 24 normal hours. Can I just get 24 normal hours from this gosh dang basketball team?
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get that because this morning Dirk shares, hey, I'm going to LA.
He's kicking it to LA, sitting next to lukadoncic's family right now as we speak.
We got the owner saying that Shaq works harder than Luka. He's getting booed at the arena. And then we got Daniel Gafford getting hurt. And, like, tomorrow we're going to find out whether AD needs surgery,
I'm feeling spicy tonight. Can you hit Playmaker 24?
We don't want to fight. I don't want to fight.
I'm not going to fight. I just want to address it. Put Playmaker 24 Spivey. Too much negativity on the side. You guys are dooming them without seeing the full team. Who knows? Maybe they get better health after the All-Star break.
It could happen.
And that's the hope.
Yeah.
That is the hope that we get to see this team as they are constructed now, fully formed. Bobby wants to see it. I want to see it.
Do.
For damn sure, Tanner want to see it.
Tanner is like, I feel bad for Tanner right now, man.
Completely. I thought about Tanner all day today. I was like, man, Tanner just going through it, man.
Tanner
like,
is
as we were getting ready
tweeting.
yeah.
He's posting tweets.
He is. Hey, going off. Go off, King. Like, go off, Tanner. But again, I put that specifically up there because we want to see more positivity for this team too. There is nothing more that we want to see than this team get a good stretch of health, get onto the floor, and play some consistent basketball with the way that this team is put together. And unfortunately, that has just not happened yet. And until that does, the frustration will continue to grow for us, for this fan base that watches this team, that, yes, is watching a team that's playing extremely hard night in and night out, but simply doesn't have the bodies and the requisite execution to continue to sustain winning performances. And some of it is their fault in terms of play, but a lot of this is things that are out of their control based off of who is and isn't on the team anymore and the health that they are simply dealing with right now. So I just wanted to address that because, look, I don't want to be negative. It's exhausting to be that way. I promise you.
And it's not fun.
And it's not fun either.
You know, and like our whole idea, our whole mission is to make it more fun to be a Mavs fan.
That's
and
right.
Like, I think, you know, the unfortunate reality of Mavs fandom right now is that nobody's having fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the most notable thing to happen in the last 72 hours outside of the owner, you know, just completely forgetting to mention Dirk Nowitzki when talking about superstars that work hard during his lifetime. The guy that played for the team that he owns, by the way. The most interesting thing is that the fans had a protest outside the game or a rally, you know, and like there's just so much. I think it would be one thing. It would be one thing if there was all of this anger and rage and, you know, discontent off the floor, but it was a healthy product, a healthy team that was winning games.
I agree with that.
I mean, that would be super compelling, actually. But, like, again, no Anthony Davis, no PJ, no Gafford, no Lively, no Dwight Powell. Your only player that was active tonight that was taller than 6'7" is a two-way guy.
Yeah.
Like, they're so banged up. They're so depleted. Kyrie took a three to, I don't remember, again, if it was fourth quarter or overtime. He took a three, and it hit, like, the bottom of the front side of the rim. Like, he is so gassed, dude. And their other best player right now is Clay, and he dunked tonight, which was awesome, but he just turned 35.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have to do so much heavy lifting. And, you know, going back to October, November, you know, what we were saying is, like, the whole point of going out to get Clay, first off, is to try and have a guy in the playoffs that gets in opponents' heads, whatever that you have to game plan for, but also to try and make the regular season easier, to try and make these guys play fewer minutes, because last season, this time of year, basically every game became a must-win, and so Luka and Kyrie are having to play in 40 a game down the stretch. And it worked. The Mavs won a bunch, and they went to the finals. It was great. But they were absolutely they were running on below E by the time they made it to the finals. Like that, we cannot let that happen again. That was the whole front office idea going into the offseason. And they built a really deep team, but I don't think that there's ever been an NBA team deep enough to withstand what the Mavs are going through this season. Like it's honestly, and I don't mean this to be, whatever. It's a miracle that they're above 500. It is an absolute miracle that they're even above 500.
I mean, it's almost comical at this point, the amount of injuries that this team has dealt with on a day-to-day basis and how they continue to fight through it and fight through it and fight through it.
Hey, 2-4-sided. No one's talking down on that. Just chill.
But at the same time, when it comes to what they have to try to achieve after the All-Star break, it's going to be very difficult for this team to do. And another positive thing I'll say before we take our next break here, shout out to Omax Prosper. I thought Omax Prosper, for the most part, played an excellent game tonight, finishing at the rim, attacking the rim, whether it's in transition, making some nice mid-air adjustments to get some baskets. I thought Omax played a pretty damn good game. Max Christie doing the same as well. The reason why it's so frustrating is because you're seeing the growth from certain guys. Omax, for example, being the guy tonight. You thought going into this year, if Omax could show the kind of potential that he showed in a game like tonight, that would make this team even deeper based off of what they had prior to the season and going into the year. It's frustrating that you're having to see Prosper be able to have to play the way that he did, even with the -17. Nicholas, I see that you've pointed that out. You look at the game in and of itself, Max played pretty decently in this game. Plus minus doesn't always tell you everything when it comes to how a guy was effective on or off the floor or on the floor. But that's part of why it is frustrating to watch all of this, because you just don't know, as you mentioned, from night to night, who is going to give it to you on the floor.
Yeah, I got you 214, my bad. And then Arturius asked him from California, is the DLS membership worth it for me? The promo says $48 for first-time member, but when I'm about to pay, it says $80. If it does say $80, then send me a DM on Twitter. I'm Bobby Carell on Twitter. Send me a DM. It should only be $4 a month. If it is saying $80 for you, then there could be a problem with the site or whatever. But just hit me up on Twitter.
Let's get one more super chat, and then we'll take our break here. We got time to get one more in here before we take our next break. Let's get to
Arturius. Shout out.
Oh, they came back in with another one. Okay. With the $5 super chat for Arturius Gregor, this is unsustainable for. Oh, we read that one a little bit earlier. Let's get to Martin the Polar Bear. Yeah,
did we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the Kai sustainability one. Yeah, I think I read that one, but I'll read it again. This is unsustainable for Kai to play this many minutes. With all of these minutes, the chances of us being in the playoffs or playing is very slim.
It's a true take, man, and it's a very scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very scary thing.
And then let's get to Martin the Polar Bear real quick. Well, that's okay. That's okay. With the $2 super chat from Martin the Polar Bear, shout out to you. Coward Nico kicking out the fan for saying fire Nico.
That guy also, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that guy also had a sign that said, him and someone else that was at the game had a sign that said fire Nico. It's ultimately up to the arena. There's a policy on their website. Again, I'm not defending it. I'm just telling you. On the website, it says you can't have, I forget, obscene or offensive or obscene or something. There's like 2 things that you can't have toward players, officials, fans, or team employees. And Nico is technically an employee of the Mavs. So what happens in those kind of situations, is if you're holding up a sign, let's say it had a cuss word on it or whatever, arena security would either confiscate the sign or say put the sign away, otherwise you will be removed. So I'm guessing they probably gave the dude a warning. If they did just kick him out on site, then I don't know. But Tim tried to get a little more info, and he's about to join us, so hopefully he'll be able to explain it.
And he will join us. Our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato will join us coming up on the other side of the break here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show as the Mavericks fall in overtime to the Sacramento Kings 129-128. All that more coming up next year on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. But first, let me talk to you about Rugged Road Coolers. I got one sitting right here next to me on set here on the Dlls Mavs postgame show. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest conditions and environments, their coolers are built to last. Ensure they keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days as well, but oftentimes much longer than that. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, including tubing, fishing, camping, to tailgating as well. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. Again, ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off today.
Well, KG, I nailed the first 2 parts of my sleeper pick of the night because Domantas Sabonis got a double-double and Kyrie Irving scored at least 20 points. He ended the game with 30, actually, so that was a pretty easy dub for your boy. I decided to have some fun with the third part of it, and I chose Luka to score 40 points in his Lakers debut. Now, he's got 13. The third quarter just started. I don't think he's going to get to 40 because the Lakers are up by 30 points already.
What?
Yeah, so unless Luka just has an unbelievable third quarter, I'm probably going to take an L on sleeper, but that's okay. I was just trying to have some fun. If you think you know ball and want to either have fun or actually no ball better than me and win and not just have fun. You can download Sleeper today. Use promo code DLSMavs. Play $5, get $55. You can use it on any contest. Does not have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in more than 25 states, including Texas.
Yeah, the Lakers are whooping that ass in Los Angeles right now against the Utah Jazz. Unfortunately, the Mavericks fell at home tonight in overtime to the Sacramento Kings, 129 to 128. DeMar DeRozan's game-winning bucket with 1.9 seconds left delivers the win.
Worst double team of all time?
That double team was horrendous. To see DeMar just step through the double team, get the floater on the leaning jumper on the baseline, it was just awful. And then Malik Monk almost bailed them out at the very end, trying to take a charge on Spencer Dinwiddie, who was at half court about to take a three-pointer. I don't understand what Malik Monk was thinking there.
Cannot explain that one, dude.
I don't get it. I know that they had a foul to give, but that's a risky.
That might have been a shooting foul.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what they decide, because that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. So I don't understand what Monk was thinking in that moment, but nonetheless, they called an offensive foul on Dinwiddie, and the Kings ran out the clock from there in overtime. Let's go out to the American Airlines Center and welcome in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. After the Mavericks fall 129-128 in overtime, an entertaining game. 28 lead changes, 17 ties. We thought a go-ahead three by Klay Thompson was going to win it. DeMar DeRozan said, not having it. And he drops 42 in the win for Sacramento. Your thoughts on tonight, Tim, from the AAC?
I mean, oh man, where do you want me to focus on? I mean, there's a lot that was going on. I guess obviously for me, it's the stuff that was happening in the arena, because Dallas lost that game, but that was a heroic effort from the Dallas Mavericks, from the players of the Dallas Mavericks. Absolutely heroic. There are so many instances when you are playing literally without any centers, when your last healthy center goes down injured, and we'll see. No update. I ran in here. Jason Kidd was abnormally and lengthily late for his typical post-game press conference. It's usually the first one that happens, but Klay Thompson has spoke. Apparently Kyrie is speaking at some later point. I would assume that per NBA rules that
so Jake Kidd still hasn't talked to him?
At some point. He had, I don't, unless he's just now started. Yeah, he still hasn't started. This is very, very abnormally unusually late for
That's
a
little
for a head
spooky
coach
to me.
to be.
That's a little spooky to me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very odd. And despite all that, the team should be proud of what happened on the court. And, obviously there's moments that you can pick nits at, but that was a very inspired, that was a very impressive effort, given everything that this team is fighting through. And yet here in the crowd was great. Once again, like, this is something I've been locked in on. I did some obviously reporting on Friday before Saturday's game about the game presentation. The was going to be different, and continued to point out how they were not showing fans on the Jumbotron. But on Saturday's games, it was packed and it was loud. And tonight it was not nearly as packed, and a lot of people left when overtime started, which is pretty typical of any weeknight game. If you go to overtime, a lot of people, we're not planning to be that late. So it had kind of thinned out by the time overtime, but the crowd was loud, and the crowd was supportive, and it was very loud when Klay hit that shot, the possibly game-winning shot. But they did boo, because there was a few moments where fans, were, again, and I'm trying to get clarification. I and other reporters have asked the Mavericks for a statement, to kind of explain what exactly, was. I know, Bobby, you were just explaining kind of some of the rules that NBA or, arena staff has. Obviously, what I have heard is that the protests, people have been told to remove tape covering, the Maverick logo. That was happening at Saturday's game.
That is
not
weird to me and corny. I don't like that.
Yeah. And so as this team is doing nothing but, being a team that is so easy to root for, the Mavericks organization keep doing things over and over and over again, whether it's, comments from the governor of the team, all the way back to Nico's first press conference, all the stuff that has come out about Luka, the constant, anonymous sourcing of, why he was traded while Luka says nothing. And now, here are fans getting, removed from the stadium, and there were some boos when that, that set of fans, were removed for signs they held up, I assume. It seems like the signs were removed and then the people were removed. But again, I'm trying to get clarification on that. But it's just like, it's dumb. It's all very silly. And it feels like the more this organization leans into trying to avoid, like a viral tweet, you're just going to end up with more of them. More and more and more, because the more you present yourself as the antagonist and the more you actively try to do something, I mean, it's damn near the Streisand effect. It's very similar to that. This is all, it just does not, it's not going to help the situation. It's only inflaming things. And quite frankly, I know there's people thinking that the boos are somehow taking away from the team itself. Klay Thompson was asked about that. He said, to the extent that they even notice that, players do not care about that stuff, it doesn't affect them. The boos were barely noticeable. It was a very, very minor side story to what was happening tonight. And was mostly happening, it was for the most part not happening when, the ball was in play. But, so I think what all of this is taking away from is what the team is doing on the court, which, again, even in the loss, this team is fighting. This team is fighting far more than you've seen some teams in this exact circumstance, with this many players out, with this just uncertainty about where the season is headed and whether the team is going to be able to recover from this just this constant string of losses and this very difficult situation. That's what it's taking away from, is that the team is still fighting. That's what we really should be talking about on this post game. But instead there's other news items that keep popping up and other things that are completely within the organization's control that they're doing to cause more, just to add more fuel to this continued fire of, what almost feels like, it really genuinely should not feel like, but it almost feels like an organization versus its fan base. That's not a situation you ever want to be in, ever. But that's kind of what it feels like right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's how they're using their words. So, okay, so I while you were talking about that, Tim, I started thinking about whenever I was a little younger, like 10 years ago, as I was kind of breaking onto the basketball media scene, and most of the like offensive rating and defensive rating and true shooting and a lot of stuff that kind of like everyone sort of gets now, points per possession, things like that. It's kind of just adopted into the lexicon of, I would say, most average fans and certainly diehard level fans. It wasn't the case 10 years ago. A lot of sort of established media hated it. Fans hated it. Everybody hated it. And kind of the attitude that a lot of people that were like, no, these stats are good and you're just dumb would take is just that. I'm right, you're wrong, you're a dinosaur, get out of here, you suck, you're dumb, you don't understand this. Oh, what, is math scary, you little nerd? Like, get out of here, That's not a good way to win people over, And so I tried to make it my own like career goal to, like, if I'm talking about stats, to try and break it down in a way that people understand. Meet people where they're at, right? Nico and Patrick Dumont, in talking about this trade where it's very, very clear that people are very mad. Now, whether they think that fans are unreasonably mad is up to them. That's their choice. But people are extremely mad about this and extremely sad and upset. You can either meet them where they're at and explain yourself, explain why you did this in a way that is respectful, in a way that is, again, meeting them where they're at.
Empathizing with the situation.
Yeah. Or you can say, Shaquille O'Neal, who won a championship at over 400 pounds, has a great work ethic. Michael Jordan smoked cigars, golfed 36 holes on the day of a playoff game. Great work ethic. Larry Bird, who cut his hand open in a bar fight during the Eastern Conference Finals one time because he was out getting hammered the night before a game.
Yeah.
Super good work ethic. Magic Johnson, I don't even feel comfortable talking about what he was up to off the floor. The list goes on. One guy he didn't mention was Dirk. You have a layup. It's a layup, dude. Just mention your own guy.
Yeah.
Mention the guy that the statue was out there where all the fans were protesting like 2 days ago. It was such an easy thing to hit, and he couldn't even do that.
You can't say that because Dirk, at every single opportunity, has endorsed Luka as his heir.
And so has Michael. So had
Dirk
Kobe.
So
had all
open.
these other dudes. LeBron. So had all these other dudes who played at a Hall of Fame level, looked at that cat and said, he's the future and he's the dude you build around. And they said, no, piss on all that. Trade his ass out of here. We don't want him because he don't have the work ethic of a freaking Shaquille O'Neal.
But it's like, it's fine if that's what they think. I mean, it's not fine, but like, follow me here. I'm asking. If that's what they think, cool. Think away. But just like, you gotta do a better job explaining it than this. Like, this has been easily the worst. And, you know, I have very minimal experience in this because I used to kind of do, not comms for the Mavs, but I was in the Mavs media team. This is like the worst PR debacle I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this is absolutely awful. Every single time they've had a chance to make this better, they have actively gone out of their way to make it worse. And it's like, that's the Mavs. We just have to agree, like, the Mavs culture is, we're going to do the thing that we think is right, and if you think it's wrong, GTFO, get out of here. You're gone. We'll trade you. We'll kick you out of a game.
Because you can't take a vacation on us. You can't take a vacation on us.
We will make fun of you in the press.
Oh, my God.
In public. Like, they will go out of their way to make you feel stupid. And, like, Tim, it's just like, this is just an absolute, like, unimaginable failure.
Are we out of touch? No, it is the children who are wrong.
You're right.
Them damn kids have no idea what they're talking about. Tim, thank you for your time and your patience. We really appreciate it. Enjoy tomorrow off. Well, actually, no, we have a show tomorrow. Sorry. Tanner's like, no, we actually have a show tomorrow. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a show tomorrow. It looks like Jason Kidd still hasn't talked yet, so I'm going to go see what he has to say.
Okay. I don't know what kind of team meeting you can have after you run out of centers, but
he might not be having that kind of a meeting.
Klay Thompson was there. Klay Thompson came right in and talked, so it was not a player meeting. I don't know what type of meeting he's in, but it was not a player meeting.
Yeah, I can. I think the only other kind of meeting he could be in would be even worse than a team meeting. So yeah, we'll find that out from Stein or Shams pretty soon.
Tim, appreciate you, my guy. Thank you. That is our Mavericks regarding Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center after the Mavericks fall 129 to 120. I did not come in here ready to like just go off, but my gosh, I was talking to someone. Let's take a break. Let's take our break here. Let's take our break. And I got more on the other side. Yeah, we'll talk about more on the other side. Next on the Dlls podcast.
First, diehard Reed. Shout out to everybody who's hanging out with us here.
That was a horrible diss, man. I'm so sorry. That was a horrible diss, man. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll be better. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
We're going through it. You know, we're going through it on the show. Y'all are going through it. The temperature is 50 degrees lower than it was 2 days ago, and my sinuses are on the verge of exploding. But I'm fighting through it. All right, I'm not taking a vacation. Because we at DLLS Sports don't take vacations.
We don't take vacations around here. Okay?
Yeah, unlike Patrick Dumont, who does go on vacations. He does take vacations sometimes. We're here every single pregame, every single postgame, 5 days a week here at DLLS Sports. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Thank you for subbing to the channel. We've reached a lot of people this past week. And I was at the protest on what day was that? Saturday?
Yeah.
I was outside the arena on Saturday, and so many people came up to me and said, "Hey, thank y'all for what you're doing. Thank you for just like being there with us." You know, and like that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be there for people. We're just trying to be there with you. Like,
Sure.
This sucks. Like, we can sit around and talk about how much this sucks, how much we wish it was different. But anyway, if you want to take your support for what we're doing one step further, QR code right there, link in the description below, or alldls.com/diehard, where for $4 a month right now, we're running a limited time special with the start of Rangers spring training next week. Or wait a minute, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can become a diehard. When you sign up, you get a free shirt. You also get to join the DLS Discord server. You also get to read all the premium paywalled written content on our site. Tim's been breaking a lot of news this week and reporting a lot about what's going on and off the floor for the team. You get a physical diehard card. You get a discount on events. We had one last week, our first one. It was awesome. The Mavs actually won the game, too. It was great.
That's right.
So if you want to join our growing and mighty legion of diehards, hey, it would be great. And if you just want to keep enjoying the show, then we'll get back to that right now.
We appreciate all of you joining us here live on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. Mavericks fall in overtime to the Sacramento Kings, 129-128. DeMar DeRozan scoring 42 points in the win for Sacramento. Kyrie Irving, big night, over 30 points in this game, but not enough in the end, despite really good games from OX Prosper, Max Christie, as the Mavericks fought hard and valiantly in this game. Daniel Gafford leaving in the first half with a right knee sprain, was not able to return to the game. We're still awaiting the status for him as we go forward.
You see what Ben said?
No.
Ben Selheim said, "Diehards are dying hard tonight." Ain't that the truth, man?
That is the
oh my God.
As we had our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato in our last segment, we were talking about some of the comments that Patrick Dumont, the majority governor, had about Lukadoncic and the trade on the way out the door, and you were talking about the famous habits, if you will, of Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and others, even through that, the greatness that they displayed. That's kind of what makes this really kind of messed up, is because you have been around long enough to even know about the stories, and we've seen photos when Dirk was out here kicking it, when he was kicking it earlier on in his career, and he worked through those things to eventually become one of the greatest players in the history of the game. That's the part that really just makes me sad, is because all the faults that the player had, sure, they were chronicled and well known, but working through those things and being that kind of imperfect superstar is kind of the allure of this whole thing to begin with. Like, part of the reason why Michael's legend is incredible as it is, because he was ripping cigars during playoff games or doing whatever.
He ate the pizza.
He ate the pizza like before the NBA Finals. That's what makes part of the sports so fun and so alluring, is that these superstars can do some of these things. And if those guys can work through it with their organizations, I thought the Mavericks could be able to do the same with their superstar. But they were just like, no. The habits of a Luka Doncic is just too much for us. He's peaked at 25 years of age. We don't think his body's going to be able to hold up for the next 10 years to be able to win titles for us. So we're going to ship him out to Los Angeles to see if he can do it there. Meanwhile, the impetus of the trade that you made with Los Angeles was to get rid of a guy that you felt like was unreliable, and then you trade for the dude who's been notoriously unreliable throughout the entirety of his career. And then the unfortunate irony is that he confirms what has been an injury history for him throughout the course of his 11, 12 years in the league, and may be done for quite some time. It just feels real wrong. It just feels really bad, because everything that has played itself out in the ways that it did, none of it had to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. But this is the choice that this organization has made, and now they're going to have to live with it.
Yeah, and again, I mean, like, I'm trying to be an empath myself, KG. We're talking about how the team isn't being very empathetic in their communication. I will try and be empathetic and understand. I can understand why they felt that way. I can at least try to begin to understand why they thought maybe he has peaked, maybe these injuries are a big problem, maybe we don't like him, maybe we don't want him here, whatever. Like, if that's what you think, you do you, Kings. I'm powerless. I'm powerless to affect your thinking.
Kings and Queens. Yeah.
That's right. Although in the front office, I think Mavs front office is pretty male heavy. But anyway,
got you.
Go off. But you gotta handle it better than they did.
Sure.
Gotta handle it better than they did. If you think that, if you make that evaluation of your own player, hey, that's your choice. That's your decision. I can't control any of the good stuff you do, and I damn sure can't control any of the dumb stuff you do. But you got to handle it better than they did. Because when you come out and act the way that you do and talk the way that they did and say the things that they said, then when Anthony Davis suffers an injury 3 quarters into his debut, it's even worse. Like,
exactly.
Have you ever heard of the term damage control? Like, that's what that is. That's what positive PR is, or just good, solid messaging, or even PR crisis management. Like, it's just about putting out the right message so that if things get worse, you're okay. Tanner, were you about to say something?
Yeah.
Like what KG is about to say, I think.
Yeah. Jason Kidd is not going to speak tonight.
Ooh.
Brad Townsend, multiple people on the scene confirming this. That Jason Kidd will not have any post-game comments. And Brad Townsend saying, first time I recall that happening. So
I don't think I've been covering games since 2013, so this is 12 years or whatever. Oh my God, I'm old. Never seen that happen before.
Same. Win, lose, win by 40, lose by 50.
This is so bad.
Coaches talk.
Oh my God.
But Jason Kidd not talking at all. That is I'm not gonna be hyperbolic.
Don't do another rant.
No, I'm not. But that is a very interesting development.
No, it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
Well, I wasn't trying to necessarily go there. But,
it's an indication that something's going on.
Yeah, something is amiss right about now.
I mean, like, the best case scenario for why he wouldn't address the media is he is experiencing an extreme sudden sickness or illness or something. Like, that's the best case scenario, is that he's extremely sick. Even then, they would send out somebody to talk. I mean, hopefully there isn't like a health episode or anything. I can't imagine. Otherwise, I doubt that any of the other players would have talked. Something's going on. Something is going on. That's it. That's all. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to speculate. It is. You never, ever, ever see this happen, ever.
We're going to try to see if we can get more as far as what is happening there is concerned. But yes, that is the news right now. Jason Kidd not going to address the media at all after tonight's game, and what is a loss to the Sacramento Kings. As we continue here on the Dallas Mavs postgame show, let's get to some of your super chats as well, because this is taking a very, very interesting turn here.
I can't believe this, dude.
C. Banjer with the $1.99 super chat. I don't mind Kai missing the last 2 games. Too many minutes right now.
Ooh.
I mean, here's the thing about that, though. You're not in a position to let him sit right now. Like, you're hanging on to a thread at a play-in spot right now, and you need every single win that you can get, especially when we don't know the injury situation fully when it comes to Anthony Davis. So, and Jason Kidd said it pregame, look, if Kyrie got to play 40-plus minutes, he's going to have to play 40-plus minutes and the rest tomorrow. They simply do not have the bodies to afford losing Kyrie and sitting him for stretches of games, because he is their primary playmaker. Defensively, he was actually able to get after it tonight. I thought in a lot of different ways, had a couple of really important steals in this game. They need Kyrie Irving to play as much as he can. But again, this goes back to the situation that this organization decided to put themselves in by moving on from Lukadoncic. You then put Kyrie Irving in a spot at 32 years old, 14 years in the league, with a back injury that is significant, to have to carry this team offensively every single night. And the margin for error that this team has is slim to none.
Well, yeah, but if we just said that, KG, but we also just said Kyrie's playing too many minutes, then what are you going to do?
Are you trying to win these games or not?
If the idea that you can only achieve a play-in spot is by turning Kyrie into dust, is that worth it?
No, it is not worth it. But that's not the choice they made moves to believe that they are in win now mode. They're going to, I believe, operate as a win now mode type of team. And with their situation that they're dealing with, Kyrie Irving is the win now mode player that is available and good enough to try to keep some of this afloat, because right now, outside of him, there is no one. Corbin with the $2 super chat. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki is in LA. Says a lot. Dirk actually tweeted prior to the game, just to make sure that we address that, because
his tweet, that reasoning though rang hollow.
It did, but he did say it. So I'm gonna read.
Of course he said it, because Dirk is actually. Are we past an hour? I'm not gonna say it. I was about to use a really bad word.
We are past an hour.
Dirk actually knows how to speak to people.
That's very true. He said, "Quote: I will always be a Mav for life, but had to come support my guy 77, lukadoncic, in the first game of his new chapter."
Anytime you have to say, "I will always be a Mav for life," but then there's a but after that, you're like, oh, God, this is bad.
Yeah, man. I mean, shout out to Dirk. He's supporting this guy. As he should. He's sitting next to Luka Doncic's family. Scott Tomlin is also right there next to him.
Is he really?
As well at the game. Yeah, Scott Tomlin's hanging out with him tonight. Former Mavericks exec.
Good dude.
Yeah, love Scott. Shout out to Scooter. He's there with him tonight, as of course he helps runs Dirk's foundation these days. So yeah, a lot of love in Los Angeles for Luka Doncic tonight. Let's go to Claymore K with the $5 super chat. Kobe was this is famously true. Kobe was disgusted by Shaq's work ethic, yet Dumont cites Shaq as an example of great work ethic. Dumont is clueless.
It's like Kobe and Shaq had a years-long feud over stuff like that. Like, it was super, super well known. You know?
What's funny about those comments is that those weren't even the most inflammatory statements that I thought Dumont had to say. It was just the most ridiculous portion of the comments that he had. Like citing, like, tell me that you haven't watched basketball by telling me you haven't watched basketball by citing Shaq as a guy that had great work ethic, who went on record. My man Diesel went on record and said, I didn't work hard enough in the league. Shaq ripped Shaquille O'Neal for the lack of work ethic. He said, I could have had how many more championships if Shaq had actually worked even a little bit. So
Shaq gained, he said himself, he gained, I think it was 70 or 80 pounds over the course of their three-peat together. Like,
and he was still destroying everyone.
Yeah, but his work ethic, though, KG, like,
yeah,
it was
man,
just unbelievable.
It's just unbelievable.
Whenever Shaq had to miss 15 games every fall to get back into shape, that was because he was actually working so hard that he had to shave off the muscle that he had gained in the offseason. It was dangerous for other players to let him play under those circumstances.
And what's crazy is when Shaq did decide to put in the work, that cat looked like Superman and would destroy everybody.
I do want to. So John T says, if you want to take a vacation, what is the vacation quote? What does that mean? So Dumont said, if you want to take a vacation, don't take it with the Mavericks.
That's right.
That is the words of someone that I never want to work for. I never want to work for someone that's going to say something like that, ever. It doesn't matter what my salary is. If that's your sentiment, sorry, dude. I don't want to work for you. I just don't want to. It's a good thing, though, that he's not in charge of the team or anything. Like, he's just some guy, right?
Just a guy.
He's just not even important. He's just not even important.
Let's get to the other super chats we got. Shout out to Arturis Gregor back in the
shout out.
With the $2 super chat. Either Kid is getting fired or AD is out for the year. Something is clearly amiss.
Recky Specky, but you know what? You're on the right track.
Happening right now. We thought we were going to get more information about Anthony Davis throughout the day as far as what his injury concern would be further. Bobby scaring me because he grabbed his phone.
No, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
My spidey senses are tingling out of control right now.
Yeah, because it definitely caught me off guard. Like, what is going on with you over there? Because you grabbed your phone very, very quickly, and I thought something was happening. But yeah, among the things that have obviously happened with the loss, multiple fans being ejected at tonight's game as well. The Mavericks not being able to win down the stretch as far as the overtime game is concerned. more concern about the injury for Daniel Gafford as well, as he's dealing with the right knee sprain. This is on top of the fact that you did not have PG Washington in this game either, who's also dealing with a right ankle sprain. So the injuries continue to pile up for this team. But yes, the biggest one that we're waiting to hear from is the status of Anthony Davis going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I've gotten no word from. I'm not going to pretend. It's not like I would know, but if it was even sort of out there, someone would have texted me by now, and I have not gotten anything.
Understood. Let's go to Ben Selheim. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Ben. With the $4.99 super chat. Hung out with him at the Cosmo event.
We did.
I appreciate you, Bobby, KG, Cato, and Tanner, and Stein. Thank you for fighting the good fight.
Hell yeah, brother.
Shout out to you, Ben. We really appreciate you.
I mean, it is fun to this is not fun, but it is nice to have a community of people who's, like Ben, we met in person, but a lot of y'all's usernames I recognize, and y'all recognize us through the screen. Like, we have a little bit of a community, and given where our expectations and hopes were 3 months ago,
oh my goodness,
as compared to where they are now, and everything that's happened in between, community is very, very important.
It is
because
it is.
That's a lot of swings and emotion, and it is not healthy to go through that by yourself.
I mean, we've been through, I can speak for myself, the range of emotions that I've experienced in the last 9 days has just been, I've vacillated from sadness to anger to frustration to confusion to pissed offness. Like, it has been a range that I did not think I would experience with this team, given the direction that they were headed based off of where they were last year. And even with the injuries and waiting for 77 to come back. And then for him, like, the lasting image of him hobbling off the floor in a Mavericks uniform, to me, is just not the way that I ever thought that it would end between him and this franchise. But that being the last
for Luka or for AD?
Jeez.
Sorry. Or for Gafford or for Lively? Who were you talking about?
I was talking about 77.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Christmas Day. But my gosh, Bobby, good gracious, man. Let's get to Cameron. Cameron Aziz with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. What are the possible explanations for Kidd? Who knows? It's very.
Let me just say, hopefully it's not a medical episode or something. Like,
yeah,
hopefully it's
sure.
nothing like that.
Yeah, it is very, very uncommon for a head coach to not speak after a game, win or lose. And I believe this is the first time. Is this the first time under the Kidd regime that he has not spoken?
I mean, it's not happened in my time covering the NBA.
I've
only
never seen
covered
it.
the Mavs, so still.
That's right, John. KG going through all the stages of grief, as we all are. That is, yes.
It's like every time Max Christie makes a play, it's like a little bit of denial. There's like a little bit of like a little ray of sunshine.
Yeah, Max.
Like that scene in the third Matrix whenever Trinity finally sees the sun for the first time.
Oh, that's
but you know what happens right after that?
That's good.
You know what happens right after? I don't want to spoil it if you're listening on Spotify, but you want to know what happens right after that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Maybe he's watching the Lakers game. Maybe he's just watching Luka.
Dude, maybe he is. He's locked into the action.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's possible.
Do you know how hilarious that would be if Jason Kidd, if him and Frank Vogel were in the office just watching Luka and LeBron cook the Utah Jazz after everything that's happened. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of frustration, and it feels like, and that's the other part too. We haven't even gotten to the All-Star break. Like, there are still 2 more games before the All-Star break. And Bobby, you said it.
What else could happen?
There's plenty. You said it Saturday. Like, just get to the All-Star break as healthy as you can. And by the day, by the second, unfortunately, that just continues to not happen for this team. So I just want this team to get to the break so they all can sit down and not have to worry about, hurting themselves on the floor.
While we're on the subject of guys getting hurt, Caleb Kroll in the chat says, we need Tanner to get some screen time. At this rate, Tanner's going to get some screen time in a jersey. Like, Tanner's he's going to be playing. He's going to be out on the floor.
Do we need some PG minutes from Tanner? Like, we need some point guard minutes from Tanner. So,
like, you need 6 good fouls on Domantas Sabonis. I know just the guy.
Again, there's no further update as we get ready to end here when it comes to Jason Kidd and why he has not spoken to the media at all after tonight's game. So
You know what's going to happen? We're going to stop, and then something is going to happen,
if we have,
and then we're going to have to come right back.
if we do an
here.
emergency, first of all, I'm gonna do that from home.
It's a long way home.
Not with this traffic. It's clear right now. My
Oh,
guy.
that's true.
It's 30 minutes.
Is it still
from
raining or
here?
anything?
From my house, from right here to my house, 30 minutes, straight shot. But yeah, there hasn't been anything else as of yet when it comes to this situation.
Yeah, it's just tough, man. I mean, let me put it this way. So there was a conversation that I was having. This was 2017-18. And, I knew the Mavs wanted Luka, but there was obviously a really good chance. There was like a 85% chance or whatever that you're not going to win the lottery, so you're not going to get him. And I knew that if they didn't get Luka, the other name I was hearing was Wendell Carter Jr. I was like, man, if it's Wendell and Dennis Smith, okay. I mean, I can talk myself into that, but you get a young point guard and you get a young center, like a 20-year-old at both positions. You're going to be bad for a while. And, you might see some progress, but not every young player pans out. And there's going to be so many times in the lottery, or there's going to be some reckless move to try and get better quickly. And, like, you're just going to be stuck in purgatory. And it's like, I mean, the only way that I could get through that season, hope casting that they'd get Luka, but resigned to the fact that they probably wouldn't, is by just appreciating J.J. Barea, by appreciating Devin Harris backdoor cuts. They trade for Doug McDermott, appreciating his shooting form. Appreciating Salah Mejri, just like finding stuff that I liked, because it's not always going to be a great meal. Sometimes you're going to get some overcooked beef. Sometimes you're going to have some unseasoned vegetables. Sometimes there's going to be someone sitting at the table with you that's really annoying, taking away from the vibe. Maybe those people are us, but
we're trying to keep the vibe.
You gotta get through. You got to get through it. It'll eventually turn around. Maybe it'll be 2 weeks from now. Maybe it'll be 2 years from now. Maybe it'll be 2 decades from now. Eventually it will, though. So you just got to try and find the rays of sunshine. Try and find the pearls. Try and dig for the diamonds. You got to put your little colander in the creek and let a lot of water pass through before you finally get some gold flakes. Like, it's gonna be tough. But if you really love basketball, I'm not gonna ask you to love the Mavs, because pretty clear the Mavs don't necessarily love their fans right now. But if you really love basketball, you will find those little shiny specks, those glimmering specks of hope, of enjoyment, and it'll be worth it in the end, because this is really all we have. It's all out of our control, and it all sucks right now. But something good will come along eventually.
And for those who are wondering about Lukadoncic and his debut with the Los Angeles Lakers, the Lakers as of right now are up by 30, 113-83 with 8:15 left in the fourth quarter. All 5 of their starters in double figures, including LeBron James leading the way with 24 points. Lukadoncic, though, in 24 minutes, he's on a 30-minute restriction tonight, according to head coach JJ Redick. Luka in 24 minutes, 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He's got 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists tonight.
Not quite 40, is it, KG?
No, not quite 40, but I mean, you've seen a couple moments in this game where he has had to, throw up the hand like, "Hey, I need to ask out," because let's not forget he hasn't played a game since December 25th. So he's literally just trying to get his win back. So there have been times where he's looked good. There's other times where he's looked kind of gassed because he's trying to get his conditioning.
Seth King says maybe the trade was rescinded. Lakers already did that once. Maybe it'll happen again.
Yeah, the NBA has been contacted by the Charlotte Hornets to see about the rescission of the Mark Williams trade and whether or not they can potentially.
They want to rescind the rescind.
That's right. They want the trade to go back through. Which, if I'm Dalton Connect, I'm like, can y'all just let this be over? Like, Dalton Connect is sitting back on the bench tonight with the Los Angeles Lakers. So,
and the problem with the Mavs predicament, let's say Gafford's out for a while, they can't sign anyone. They have no money. They have $0. They can't sign a player, KG. They would have to cut Brandon Williams or Kessler Edwards to sign a new big to a two-way contract. So that's cool. Where's Mark? So MJ, Mark is at the game in LA. He will be on with us tomorrow, though, to report all of what he saw and heard. He'll be here tomorrow with us.
Yeah, and our show will kick off at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon here on DLS Sports
Central.
1 p.m. Central time. That is correct. So we will be back with our regular podcast. If any news breaks before then, whether it be Anthony Davis or anything otherwise, and we potentially need to do an emergency podcast, we will do that as well if we need to. So just stay tuned with DLS Mavs on DLS Sports when it comes to everything for your Dallas Mavericks. If there is breaking news, we will definitely be here to cover all of it for you as far as the Mavericks are concerned.
The Mavs can quit on you, but we won't. And I mean the organization, not the players. The players fought their ass off tonight.
They did.
And it sucks. It doesn't suck more for them than it does for us. They're paid millions of dollars. It sucks really bad for them. I feel really, really sorry for the guys in the locker room because they are fighting so hard, dude.
They are.
It is such a bummer that this is happening to them.
We appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Unfortunately, the Mavericks fall to the Sacramento Kings in overtime, 129-128. DeMar DeRozan's go-ahead bucket with 1.9 seconds left delivers the win for Sacramento. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here.
Or sooner.
For the DLS Mavs podcast. We'll be joined by our National NBA insider, Mark Stein, and our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, as well. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLS Sports on your way out the door as well. We would really appreciate that. And download our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Give that a 5-star rating and write a review for that while you're there as well. Shout out to our guy, Tanner. Always appreciate you. Make us look good, sound good as always. Thank you, sir. For our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Corella, our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on DLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.